Hi guys and welcome to new episode of Pop Yap, and I am so thrilled to have with me today Elizabeth Wong. Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you. This is my first podcast, so this is really cool.
Nice to meet you as well. I'm super excited that you wanted to do this, and I hope people will enjoy it because your discography is like so interesting and so underrated. Like when I listen to
Thank
it,
you.
I discovered you like 2 weeks ago, and I listened to some songs, but like a few days ago, I think like last week, I really like sat down because I think it's important to just like sit down
Mhm.
and read the lyrics and everything, and it's just amazing. I can't wait to talk about everything.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you said you found my music through a Twitter thread, right?
Yes, yes.
That's yeah, I love it when that happens because like Twitter is such a like cool place to like discover new artists and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Like that's where I found like most of my favorite artists or TikTok. But yeah, I found you on Twitter, and I'm super glad that uh like one of my mutuals made the thread
Mhm.
because it's just
Yeah.
I love your music.
Thank you so much. I love that. I'm so happy you found me.
Yeah, so we can get into questions, and my first question is very basic, but what inspired you to start making music, and when did you realize it was your passion?
So I've always been a very musical person. Like I grew up taking singing lessons. I actually started on like the musical theater side, and then I was introduced to Taylor Swift by my dad when I was like 6, and that was what kind of like drew me into songwriting, and I've always just like loved and was intrigued by songwriting and how she like told stories through her songs, and I always knew that I wanted to try it out someday, but I didn't really sit down and try to write music till I was like 12 or 13, and yeah, that's when it all like started.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a conversation, I think, 2 days ago, and just Taylor is such an inspiration, and I love when people
Yeah.
just, yeah, just like
Yeah.
take the songwriting inspiration and
Mhm.
everything. I think it's so amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like, she's the most popular artist right now, but, like, for a reason, like, she's just, like, I don't know. I mean, I've kind of, like, grown with her career and just, like, seen her over the years develop and, like, transform into, like, the artist she is now, so it's, like, extremely inspiring to see that and as a songwriter and musician. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like as a female as well, because she kind of like opened doors to so many female artists who felt like
Yeah, exactly.
they just like can't do it because because I don't know of gender, and also so many people because of their ethnicity and like whatever, and that
Mhm.
they not share their feelings. And I think it's like super important to like have someone to look up to and take inspiration and go
Yeah,
forward
for
even though
sure.
people won't like it.
I 100% agree. Like she's just like paved the way for the music industry so much, and I feel like we all owe a lot to her. So yeah.
Yeah, and if we're talking about like challenges in the like music and everything, what were some of your biggest challenges you faced while starting your music career?
I face a lot of challenges. It was really hard for me to like be comfortable with sharing my own songs and stories, and also for the longest time I did not like how my voice sounded. So that was something I had to like get over, and like I took voice lessons, and I don't know, like I really spent like 2 to 3 years just like writing and singing and improving before releasing any music. So I made had to like made sure that I was happy with what I was like creating before officially putting anything out. But yeah, that was a challenge. Another challenge was also finding collaborators and producers who complemented my sound, because I've experimented with a lot of different kinds of producers, and some of them just like didn't really work with what I had in mind, and it took like a year or so of like working with different people to finally find someone who like fit the music that I wanted to make and who could like elevate my visions and ideas. So yeah, those two things were like really challenging, but yeah, it all takes time, really.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, obviously, like you need that support system from people, and as you said, like complement your sound and having like even like producers or like some people you write songs with or like whatever, just like
Mhm.
like complete the vision you have. Because I know that a lot of people as musicians have like the complete vision, like not just like how yeah, like how the song sounds, but also like how you want the cover to look and how you want to
Yeah,
the
exactly.
complete production to happen and be. And you know that you when you put out, you know that it's complete and that it's you and that it's honest and vulnerable and it's not something that someone else did, and that it's coming like exactly from you. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of people don't think about it much, but it's actually
Mhm.
important part of music.
Yeah, for sure.
um so your debut single is called Ghost of Her. How do you think your style and sound evolved since this debut single?
I feel like it's been a roller coaster, like, basically, the music I put out is always a reflection of what I'm listening to at that time, and when I put out Ghost of Her, that was kind of when Billie Eilish was really kind of getting popular, and everyone was leaning towards that, like, soft indie sound, and that was kind of like that's why the Ghost of Her sounded the way it does, but I feel like in between my first 2 singles, like Ghost of Her, Kid I Used to Be, and my music now, there's just, like, a lot of experimentation that happened. I There was a phase where I, like, really wanted to make, like, pop punk rock music for some reason, and a lot of the songs during that time ended up getting deleted for a reason, 'cause they were so bad. But I feel like just, like, because I started releasing music so young, I was 15, and, like, so much personal growth and, like, artistic development happens during, like, those ages, like, 15 to 20, I'm 20 now. So, it's been, like, a a huge roller coaster, but I feel like when I made my EP 18, that was kind of when I really found my sound. I remember when I made No Words to Say, which is the first song on there, that was, like, the moment where I was like, "This is the kind of music that I'm meant to make and that I want to make going forward." So, yeah, my sound has kind of been, like, this, like, folky, indie, sometimes a little bit of pop vibe since then, but I'm always, like, open to new stuff, and I just kind of, like, focus more on the songwriting now. Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that you were 15 when you like released the song, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
get your
I was so young. It's crazy because like, I was just so young, and I lived in California at that time, and I remember for Ghost of Her, I went to LA and worked with this, like, producer who was quite professional, and I was just this, like, little girl who had never released or recorded any music, so it was very scary, but thank God, like, he was a professional, and it ended up sounding he made me sound really good at that age, so I'm, like, happy that yeah, it sounded great.
yeah, because it sounded like so mature, and I wouldn't guess in a million years. I thought you were like, I don't know, like 17 maybe, because you can like hear its young voice but not like so young. And obviously like you are even greater now, but it was great for a debut single, and especially at such a young age. I remember like hearing other artists and their music and debut singles and EP even, and all of that kind of stuff, and you could hear that they're young. Like especially, I don't know, I'm gonna mention like Sabrina Carpenter. You can just like hear how she sounds so much better now. But here, like you've been great like since forever, I feel
Oh my
like.
god, no, stop it. It's really, like, more of on, like, the producer because he really made me sound so good, and he, like, kind of directed me, like, told me how to sing. Because honestly, recording your first song is scary because like, you have no idea how your voice is gonna sound on the mic, and so I was super scared about that, but, like, thankfully, he, like, helped me a lot, and so it was, like a lot of it was thanks to him, but Yeah, I just felt like it was like also the right time because if I recorded a song maybe like just a year earlier, it would have sound terrible. Um, but yeah, I guess I don't know. I guess the song was also like Ghost of Her. It was a really random song. I remember I wrote it. It wasn't even about anything, but I don't know. I feel like things just like came into place at the right time. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know when's the right time. But also, you mentioned that you were in California at that time. And when I
Yeah.
did my research, I just like found this article and I wrote a question like, how has growing up in Singapore and later moving to California shaped your identity as
hmm
an artist? But you're back in Singapore because, the time difference when we talked, like, how was it?
Yeah, so like I always say this, but I'm actually like I never realized how lucky I was living in California till I had to leave just 'cause like I mean, I always wanted to move. Like being in Singapore, it's a very small place. There's like not much you can do and everything is more like nobody has like crazy dreams of being an artist or whatever, but in California is like I was exposed to so much and like surrounded by friends and people who had such like cool dreams and that really like inspired me to pursue mine. And I don't think I'd even consider being an artist if I never moved there. So I feel like living there definitely like helped me start my artistic journey and like my journey as a musician. Um yeah, so I'm like really grateful that I got to spend like 10 years of my life there and I hope I get to like move back someday. But yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, well, I hope as well, but you're doing such an amazing job with whatever you're like doing right now, and it sounds amazing. So,
Thank
your
you.
latest EP was recorded in Singapore, right?
Yes, it was all recorded. The thing about like most of my music, what's funny is that like only my first two songs were professionally recorded in the studio. Everything I've made after that is all done at home. So like yeah, like all my past EPs, Back to California 18, they were all recorded just like on my desk in my room, which is like quite strange because most artists are just like working in studios, collaborating with people in real time. But I've been working with my producer, George, for about like 4 years already, which is crazy. And we just like have such a close relationship and we know like he just knows me and my like style so well and we're just like the ideal kind of like collaboration pair. And yeah, but it's like definitely strange like doing everything online and not getting to work on music in person.
Yeah, for sure. And that's interesting because yeah, so I've spoken to people who like found someone who has a studio and goes there, but since you said like
Mhm.
you're recording everything at home, how's the creative process like? Like, do you start with songwriting or first melodies? Like, how is it for you?
Yeah, so usually like I just start writing on my guitar. For most songs I start by myself. Sometimes my producer will send like cool like production pieces or like piano parts to me, but now I find myself just mostly sitting on my bed with the guitar and just writing first. And it's quite isolating, because like I've never written with other people, but I feel like it really allows me to like reflect and there's no pressure. Because sometimes I feel like when you're in a studio writing with people, it's kind of like you have this only a certain amount of time out of like the entire day to make a song, and if nothing happens, like it's just like more pressure. So I feel quite relaxed doing this by myself. But I also really wanna like it's one of my goals in like the next year or so to get out and like go to a studio and work with people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, good luck with that. But I think you're doing amazing job. Like,
Thank
production
you.
wise, it's it's truly amazing, and I actually want to go like EP by EP, starting from your oldest to newest, because
Okay, cool.
I wanted to first start with like your latest, but I think like we can go EP by EP and
Yeah,
see the
for sure.
how the times have moved. So your first EP was Mystery.
Mhm.
And if you could choose like one song or a few songs, like how many songs you like, and just like tell a story behind this, or how was the creative process like? Because it's very like indie folk vibes. I actually
Yeah,
fell
yeah.
asleep listening to it the other
Oh my
day.
God.
I
People
took a
always
nap.
say that when they listen to my music, and I honestly take it as a compliment because it just means that it's, like, calming, I guess.
Yes, it is. So yeah, you
Yeah.
can like share something about this EP.
Yeah, so this EP was the COVID EP. It was made entirely during quarantine, and that's kind of, like, where all the inspiration came from. I was, like, at home, isolated, and I really was just, like, listening to a lot of that was kind of when folklore came out, so I was extremely inspired by that, and that was also the time where I was obsessed and, like, first discovered Phoebe Bridgers. I'm still obsessed with her now, but that time I was, like, only listening to her and folklore. So that those 2 albums really influenced the EP, and honestly, like, at that age, I wasn't really going through a lot, like, I the thing about making music so young is that, like, you don't have that much life experiences to talk about. So, honestly, most of the songs on the EP are kind of, like, either, like, dramatized or completely made up. So, for example, actually, "Wanted," that's the first track of the EP. That one's a very interesting song because honestly, I don't even really know what what it's about. I started with, like, the melody, and I thought it was really cool, but it's just, like, I just at that time, I was really into, like, metaphors and all of that stuff, so it just started with some lyrics and, I think the chorus, it's, like, "wanted," but, like, unwanted or something. I think it's kind of about what I was trying to get across with that song is, like, feeling, like only, like, feeling seen, like, you're seen for the wrong reasons, like, people only, like, talk about you if it's negative and, like, people don't actually, like, I don't know, like, have anything t good to say about you. That's kind of, like, how I felt for quite some time during that time, so that song is about that, but I love the production of that. I think it's, like, quite unique. Um, Another song that's, like, really popular actually, like, one of my most streamed songs, overall is Forest of Secrets, which is on that EP. That one is about, like, heartbreak, but I've never been heartbroken at that age. So I honestly don't really know what I was saying, but I don't know. Honestly, a lot of the music at that time was, like, quite questionable, like, I don't really know what I was singing about, but it all just started from, like, cool lyrics that I just randomly came up with, and I guess, like, Forest of Secrets can also be about, like, mental health and just wanting to, like, I don't know, like, disappear. 'Cause at that time, like, I mean, COVID, we were all in our houses, and I just felt like I loved being alone, which is kind of what the song is about, I guess. Um, but yeah, I feel like those are 2 of my favorites from the EP. The rest are I can't honestly don't even remember the rest, but yeah, these are the 2 that stick out most to me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I think, yeah, I was so influenced by folklore, even though I'm not like a musician.
Yeah,
But
that album is just like it was like a awakening, like, that album changed a lot for the music industry and, like, it paved the way for, like, this new wave of kind of, like, indie musicians and, like, the kind of, like, sad music that wasn't so popular before folklore got
yeah,
released.
yeah, exactly. And just like how she put the emotions and also like the love triangle, even though it's like not real at
Yeah,
all. But people just can like relate to it so much, like me personally. And
right. Yeah, yeah.
like all of the songs, like I don't know, kind of like Mirrorball is such a
Oh my god.
significant song where people just
Yes.
can relate, like I am shivering and beautiful, but I am just basically a reflection of others, and I think
Yeah.
that people just feel this
It's
way.
such a genius song, and This Is Me Trying also. This Is Me Trying is one of the best songs she's ever made and just one of the best songs out there.
No,
Like, I really, really resonated with that.
I agree. I agree. I can resonate as well, especially like in the like academic kind of way, but also in friendships and all that kind of stuff. You can just like really relate to it where you were so good at something. I don't know, for me personal it started like I was so good at school, and then COVID happened and I don't know what just
Yeah,
happened, but
exactly. Yeah. Like, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, everything changed and I lost motivation and everything just was like going into darkness. And actually, I wanted to ask
Mhm.
about Forest of Secrets because it's my favorite from the EP. So thank you for like
Thank
even
you.
like explaining like what's it really about. And I honestly I understand like quarantine and that period of time is such a blur. I don't even remember myself like what was happening there.
Yeah,
So
I went through so many phases because you just had so much time, and I guess, like, everybody was just on TikTok and, like, I don't know, listening to music, so it's, like, so much was going on, and we were just, like honestly, like, aside from, like, the negative stuff, because COVID, obviously, but, like, it was, like, such a relaxing time, kind of,
yeah,
especially yeah,
it was, but also like challenging in so many ways where you were just like
true.
closed behind four walls and you didn't know like what to do with yourself.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So beautiful EP and debut EP, like it's such a
Thank you
beautiful
so
piece of
much.
work. So everyone should listen to it because it's a good EP to take a nap and not in the like it's boring way, but in
No,
like
no, no, I
it
know what you
calms
mean.
you down. So
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that, like, people talk about this EP still because it's so old, like, to me, it's so old because I was 16 when I made it, and, like, I'm such a different person now, but it's just, like, EPs to me I love because they're kind of like timestamps of that specific time, and I think it's cool that people resonate with, like, 16-year-old me.
Yeah, and if we're talking about age, so the second EP is called 18. Is it 18 called
Yes.
because of the age?
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I have, like, a problem with naming, like, EPs, like, it's always very hard for me to, like, name a like, making the EP is one thing, but, like, naming it is another, and I was just like, "You know what? I was 18 when I wrote all of these songs, so we're gonna call it 18." So that's how the name came from.
Yeah, I just love the EP, I have to say. Like it's probably my favorite. I love Back to
Thank
California.
you, that's my favorite too. Honestly, 18 is, like I don't know, something about it, I just, like, resonate with it so much.
Yeah, I'm gonna like say just jump to Back to California for a second because I already feel homesick because I want to go to college and like in my town
Yeah.
there's just one and I don't know if I'm gonna end up here or somewhere else. So this
Mhm.
feeling of homesickness is like really resonates with me. But 18, I am 18 right now,
Oh,
and
wait, you're so young, I thought you were, like, my age. I don't
yeah,
know, but wow, okay. I did not know you
yeah,
were 18.
yeah, I'm 18 now. And I just like can relate so much. My favorite song is definitely Staying Sober Feels Kind of Weird. I even shared it yesterday, I think.
Yes, thank you, I'm
Uh,
so glad that people, like, acknowledge that song, cause that was my favorite, that song, like this sounds dramatic, but that song, like, kinda changed, like, my life in a way because okay, before making that EP, I was going through just, like, a really tough time mentally, and I didn't know, like, what I wanted to do in life. I didn't know if, like, music wanted to continue making music, honestly, because just, like, so much happened in my life, and, like, I was gonna go to college, but, like, a lot of stuff happened, and I wasn't able to at that time, and I was just so lost, and I wasn't really, like I wouldn't say I wasn't interested in making music, but I was just so burnt out, I couldn't even, like, think about making it. But one day I just, like, sat at the piano randomly and just wrote this song about how I was feeling, and immediately it became, like, my favorite thing I've ever written, and that song started the entire EP. Um, yeah, and if I didn't make that song, I probably, like, wouldn't have that EP or probably would not even have any music, maybe. But yeah, that song is very important to me.
wow, thank you for sharing that because that's literally what I felt when I
Mm-hmm.
in. I mean, I have birthday in March, so in like 4 months, and um, I'm just gonna like graduate, and I like to think that I'm starting to figure myself out, but I cried like my uh 18th birthday. I just like cried because I was like so
Oh my
scared,
God.
and I didn't know like.
I'm sorry. I know that feeling also. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I know
continue.
that's why I'm telling you, because I just resonate with this EP so much, because it feels like you're just like trying to figure yourself out, but you don't know how.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it's about, at least for me. And it
Mm-hmm.
brings me such a comfort that when I'm slowing now, like starting to figure stuff out. And I used to have this podcast, just like I did this just myself and nobody else. I mean, I still have episodes where I'm just myself, and I want to do like the last episode of this year just with myself to kind of like do a recap. But
Mm-hmm.
I was just like so scared what people might think, and because I'm also like not English speaking person, like it's not my first language, and if I say something wrong and all that kind of like overthinking and like school stuff, like all that kind of stuff that just happened was uh really scary, and trying to figure this out took a lot of time and strength. And when I listened to this EP 2 weeks ago, tears were just like rolling down my face,
Oh
like
my God.
the
That means
whole
so much to me.
I don't know, it's like 16, 17 minutes long. This EP is like 5 songs, but all of them
Yeah.
just like are so amazing. So yeah, if you can like share like how I mean, you said that it started with my favorite song. Like, even I even have it like in my Instagram bio, like the song
Oh my
thingy.
God,
I added it.
really?
Yes, I added it today because I was like,
I
this
love
song just
that.
like describes me right now. I'm gonna keep it until start of Christmas, and then I'm gonna put some
Uh,
Jingle Bell song. But yeah, this song is
some
amazing.
Jingle Bell. But no, that's so special, like that you resonate with it, like genuinely, like it's crazy how I don't know, because to think about myself at that age, I have just like grown so much and I'm so like I feel like everything happens for a reason and like you feel a certain way at especially at that point where you're like about to like graduate and you don't know what you're doing with your life. That was me, and I was just so insecure during that time, like school and like I was making music and all of my friends were like I don't know, they were supportive, but like sometimes you just feel like weird that you're like I don't know, that people can just like judge you and you wouldn't know, you know? And I was always scared about that, but I totally see you and I felt the exact same way and I just want to tell you that like everything gets better after you graduate high school. Believe believe it or not. Just like I don't know, when I was like 19 and like even this year 20, that was like these 2 years really like allowed me to focus so much more on myself and like also age like shapes you and just like growing and everything will be all right. Like everything happens for a reason and so many people feel that way and it just like makes me happy that people see themselves in these songs because they were extremely personal to me. Like staying sober feels kind of weird. Like I talk about kind of like there's a line in the second verse that talks about like how I haven't seen my dad in a long time. That was also something that was kind of hard for me because my parents got divorced when I was 15. My dad like moved out when I was 16 and I didn't get to see him till I was 19. So it was weird. It's a weird like change, like having just like one member of your family that you're so used to seeing every day just completely like because he moved back to Singapore and I was at US during that time and that his absence was like kind of I don't know. It felt really strange and that was like kind of hard for me, but yeah, so that song I would say it's about a lot of things also. If you don't mind, I'll there's quite a bit to yap about this EP if you don't mind. Like just tell
No,
me if
no,
I'm
no,
talking too much.
no, no, no. You can
Okay.
share,
Okay,
definitely.
okay, cool. So like the first line is also my favorite. I used to climb up 1,000 miles to get to where I want to stay instead of giving me some space. In high school, I was super like an overachiever, really. I always like wanted to work hard, not just for like my parents or anything, like for myself. I was like a huge like academic validation kind of person. And I just burnt myself so much to the point where it was like, I don't know, like why did I do all of that? Because at the end of the day, like I did like get into some of the schools I really loved, but like this is like kind of oversharing, but like my family, like we couldn't afford it. And that was like kind of like when everything came crashing down and like when I started making this EP, because I took a gap year just to like figure my shit out, like for sorry, I don't know if I can swear, but
You
um
can.
to like figure myself out before like I didn't know where I was going to go to school and all of that, and that line just really like encapsulates that entire like period of my life, which is why this song is super personal to me. And yeah, the title is kind of funny though. Staying sober feels kind of weird, but the thing is, I wasn't even like drinking during that time. I just thought it was like a cool way to capture that feeling. Um, but yeah, so that's that song. And another song on that EP that I think this song is one of my favorites that's out in my discography right now. No Words to Say. Like that song just kind of I don't know, like the production, the chords, everything, it just feels very like pretty and like I don't know, whenever I listen to it, I just kind of like when okay, if someone asks me like to show me a song of mine and like if they're like, "Oh, you make music, show me a song you've made." That's a song that I would show them just because the lyrics I just love and it really describes the feeling of kind of isolation and just things never going your way and it's to the point where it's like I don't have anything to say like whatever but I love the pairing of like the sad music and like the kind of like uplifting beautiful guitar that my producer did and yeah it will forever remain as one of my favorite songs I've made um yeah I'm trying to think like what other songs on that EP stick out. Thieves, okay, Thieves is like my most popular song. I had no idea that it was gonna be the one that people clicked with the most just because it's just kind of about this feeling of, I don't know, just like falling for someone, but kind of like falling too fast and kind of picturing things before they happen and waking up to realize that like everything is in your head, which is a feeling that is super universal, which is why I feel like it ended up resonating with so many people. But artistically, that song is I feel like one of my proudest also just because like the production and all of that was kind of the sound that I've been trying to achieve for years. And like when I finally made this song and Nowhere to Say, I just felt like quite fulfilled as an artist and it got me excited to like put out the EP. So yeah,
Oh, I love the EP so much, like, and everything you said. Like, I can just like relate in so many ways, and I don't know how to like comfort someone in any other way than to say that I relate and then I respect them and their work. But
yeah,
even
yeah,
even what you said, like with the divorce thing and the college thing, like I'm going through the same thing right now where I've chosen some colleges and the system is just so fucked because it's just
right.
so expensive, and I also like live
Exactly.
just with my mom and my grandma, and even like with that's why I shared the dad line. That's gonna be kind of like oversharing, but people who like know me like know about this, and like I'm not
Hmm.
trying to like hide this, but yeah, just like not having that dad presence is
Yeah, I
super,
totally get it.
because my parents got divorced when I was 3, and last year
Oh,
I lost my dad to a suicide, which was
oh my
super
God.
weird feeling
I'm
where
so sorry.
no, it's fine. I mean, I just hope
If we
that
don't if you don't if you don't wanna talk about it, it's totally fine, like, I get it, but Yeah, just like share only what you're comfortable with.
Yeah, yeah, I'm like super
Mhm.
open about this because I know so
Okay,
many
okay,
people go through like that kind of stuff, and I think it's important to talk about it, not because I want people to feel sorry for me, because I don't even feel like sorry for myself, because I didn't actually like know him because he didn't want to. But when I got the call, when my mom called me, I mean, obviously, um I cried because it was confusing and all
yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
stuff, and the absence is just like so real. And I think especially for like young girls, and trying to build trust in men around you, because
Hmm.
the world is just so men friendly, and it's super hard to live in it, and unfortunately it still happens. So yeah, that line and all of this, I just felt it so much, and it resonated with me so 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 much. So that's why it's like so important for me. And
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
thank you.
mhm. Thank you for sharing that. Like it's I'm sure it was hard for you to talk about that, but um yeah, like all of I mean that's very heavy compared to what I went through. It's like compared to what you went through, like I can't complain. But it's just like I'm so happy that you kind of like see yourself in this like that song specifically, and I can't even imagine like what you went through. Um But I feel like all of these experiences, especially like for me, my dad was always present, and honestly, I have a better relationship with him than my mom, which is something that isn't like quite common. Like it's usually like the dad who's like people like who daughters have like problems with, but more on that later because I actually have a song coming out next week about my mom. But yeah, like it's not just my dad, but like just like being a woman and like having to be surrounded by just, like I don't know how to explain this, but, just, like, not having a father figure is, like, quite it kind of, like, alters not alters, but, like, it changes your development a little bit, like, it's not the same growing up having, like, a full family versus only having, um, like, a mom or just, like, a mom and a brother. Because at that age when I was 15 and when my dad moved away, I just felt a complete shift in myself, like, I just started kind of, like, getting I don't know, I was definitely less happy, and now thinking about it, for the longest time, I never knew why, like, everything just kinda changed at that age, but I realized it's because, like, I'm not surrounded by, like, both of my parents anymore, so, yeah, it's, like it's hard, but I'm very glad that you and, like, so many other girls can listen to this song and relate. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just want to say like pain is not measurable, and what I went through is not worse than you went through, like it's just so equal to everyone. I just don't think that, and especially, like when my parents went through divorce, I was not really thinking about it because I was 3 years old.
Yeah,
And
you were young, that's
but
very
you
different for sure.
yeah, and you just like could like feel all of this and be surrounded by this. And it's weird when your whole life you have both parents and then one of them just leaves, so it was super hard, and I cannot imagine that myself. But yeah, I just want to say that this song is such a virtual hug for so many people, I'm sure, especially like for me, like and in the whole EP, like of course I just love it so much. Like these 5 songs were life changing for me. I wish
Oh, thank you
the
so
songs
much.
were like all too well 10 minutes version. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's so special when people tell me about this EP the most, and I can see why because I wrote it at like such a like at an age where it just kind of like everybody goes through the same thing. Like I feel like 17, 18, 19, mainly 18 is like a very confusing age for so many people because like you're about to graduate, you're about to go to college, and you just feel like more grown up, but like, people still kind of look at you as a child, and, like, honestly, 18 is still pretty young, so it's a very confusing age, and yeah, I'm glad I, like, wrote about it.
Yeah, I wanted to say like 17, 18 were breakthrough ages. like for
For sure.
ev- every person I know, like for me and every other person as well. So yeah, I'm glad we have a work of art like this, because I don't think people actually like write songs about this age specifically. It's always like 17 and then 19 where you make wrong romance choices. Everyone's been saying to me,
Yes.
I'm turning
Yeah.
18, 19 next year, and they're like, just don't date anyone because that's the worst age ever. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, like
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. But
Another
nobody
thing
else.
about yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
No, 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 you can go.
Okay. Another thing about like that was what's interesting is that most of my music, cause like this is also like oversharing, but when I was in high school, like I was so insecure, like I didn't date anybody and I didn't have like all these relationships that my friends were going through. And so a lot of the music I was making is kind of just about me feeling lonely and that's like no word to say it's about that. It's about like just kind of feeling like no one's ever gonna like wanna like end up with you or like you. Um, but yeah, it's funny because so many like not that it's a bad thing, like I write about relationships now because like I'm older, but a lot of people at that age are writing about, as you said, like wrong romance choices or whatever. But for me, I was also kind of like skeptical if people were gonna relate just because I was like, I don't I don't have any like relationships to write about. So like I can only write about like my kind of like mental health and like the stuff that I was going through at that time and like cross my fingers and hope that people would relate. So it's like really cool that I don't know, people people relate because I really didn't think that people were going to.
No, I definitely can. I feel like we're the same person. Like whatever you say, I
Yeah.
just related like 1000%. Like also with the
Yeah,
relation,
yeah.
super complicated. Like no,
Yeah.
and having this kind of music is just, it just feels so good that I don't feel alone in this,
Yeah.
because so many just people just like want to feel cool being in relationships and everything.
Right.
I
You
am
know
that kind
what's
of person who
mhm.
just wants to do something and then y- just like do
Yeah.
something for myself and not for other
Exactly.
person.
Exactly. You know what's really funny and like kind of ironic? When I put that EP out, right? Because like everyone around me knew that like I hadn't been in a relationship before. And I mean, I was around some like people who would kind of not clown me for it, but I had some like toxic friendships and toxic friends that would kind of really just like always shove it in my face and like flaunt their relationships around me. And one person I remember DM'd or like messaged one of my friends and was like, who like she was like, who is she writing these songs about? Like she's never dated anyone. And I feel like that kind of like it didn't piss me off, but I was just kind of like, these are my songs. Like I know what I'm writing about. Like it's none of your business. Like it just kind of got me frustrated. Like I don't know. That like I will always remember that. It kind of like really threw me off. Because I was like, can't you see like in these songs that I'm talking about like being lonely? Like, I don't know. It's like clearly you didn't listen to the lyrics if you're saying that. But yeah, it's a confusing age and like having like friends that don't really get you is also kind of like a big theme in this EP.
No,
Yeah.
first of all, I'm sorry, but I don't know, people are just so
No, it's
stupid.
fine. Yeah.
Like I think just like if they don't understand the metaphors and all that kind of stuff, then they wouldn't probably get it. So I think that was kind of the problem here. But yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
just like whatever. I know many people at my age or even younger or older that weren't in a relationship, and it's okay. Like we all have our time, and
Exactly. And
like
if you think
so what?
about it, right? I'm so sorry I keep cutting you off. I think it's like it's
No, it's
it's
fine.
hard, like podcast. I'm not used to this, but yeah, it's like looking back, like if I dated, I'm so happy I didn't date anyone back then because I was such a mess. So it's like sometimes it's really good to wait and like figure yourself out before just rushing into relationships or whatever. So yeah, that's something I learned like the past couple of years.
Yeah, thank you for mentioning that, because I feel the same way. I don't think I'm prepared. I don't think I'm
Yeah.
like even mentally stable to like be with someone, and
Exactly.
especially in such an age and situation where just like everything annoys me if people are even a little louder. I don't know what's up with that, honestly,
Yeah.
but
I get
I'm
you,
just
I
trying
get
to
you.
figure out.
Yeah, that's totally valid.
And so if, by the way, go listen to this EP if you haven't. And if listeners could take one message or feeling away from this EP, what would you want it to be?
I would say that all of these songs are honestly very open to interpretation, and just listen to it like you wrote the song, and I don't know, like relate to it based on your life, if that makes sense. Because I feel like at the end of the day, like what's important is how you resonate with the song and not what the song is actually about, like not what who it's about or whatever. Just like take what resonates and like I don't know, I hope it helps them through that age, that 17, 18-year-old kind of like phase. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Because a lot of my listeners are like 16, 17, 18, and like young girls. So I'm sure that they will take a lot from this.
Yeah, I hope so.
I could talk about this EP. Honestly, it deserves a 2 hour podcast where it's just about it. I would love to.
Yeah, I'm down to go deep into each song because this EP is really like, I'm very like proud of it. And I don't say this often about a lot of my music because I'm very self-critical, but with this EP, like I feel like I'm quite satisfied with it.
We
Yeah.
can. I mean, I have time. If you want to,
No,
we
no,
can
it's
go.
fine. It's fine. We can move on. It's okay. It's totally fine. We have a whole nother EP to talk about. It's okay.
Yes. Which is your longest project? It's 9 songs. And
Yes.
it, for me, it feels like being homesick, which, and like wanting to do something, especially Girl on TV. I mean, I didn't relate to it in like a musician kind of a way, but also about this
Yeah.
podcast. Like there's so many great interviewers out there who just like
Hmm.
can connect with other people, and I hope that one day I can just like make people feel comfortable, and whenever people listen to this this podcast, they will be like, she is a good interviewer and she doesn't make people feel uncomfortable, which is just like honestly what I want to achieve. Because I love interviews and like watching them, and sometimes it just cringes me so hard when people just make other artists, uncomfortable, and I'm like, what the hell, like why are you even asking this? I mean, obviously
Yeah.
they want to make the things interesting, but like let's not do that because we're humans actually, and I know you want to have a lot of views or whatever, but you can do it in a kind way also. But yeah, like, can you walk us through a creation of a track from your latest EP, Back to California?
Yeah. Okay, let me just say, like, this podcast so far is like your I don't know, I'm not like I'm open, but like I feel like you just make artists feel so comfortable and like sharing all of these things, it just feels very natural. So you're doing an amazing job, and I believe that you will go very far. Because I have talked to some like interviewers that, like with certain people, you just don't feel as comfortable sharing stuff. So you're definitely on the right track and you're doing so good. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, of course. And I mean that. Okay, for Back to California, like just like one track or like just the
You
overall
can choose.
process of
You
it?
can choose, and also like how
Okay.
was creating it in general.
Okay. So, I mean this whole album EP is kind of just about me adjusting to like living in Singapore and just moving away from a place that I've been in for so long and had so many like great experiences, and I always thought I was gonna live in California for the rest of my life. So, it was kind of just like a hard change for me. So How Do I Leave Now was the first song I made for it. And it's just like I remember that song just came from such a vulnerable place because I wrote it, I think, the the day I found out or the day after I found out I had to move back, and it was a very sudden thing, had no idea until my mom told me. And I remember I spent like that entire weekend just in my room, just like crying and just like figuring out, like trying to figure out what to do because I had to like apply to schools and do all that college process over again. And I was like so burnt out at that point, and I just kind of like stayed in my room and sobbed about it for like a few days. And then that's when I wrote this song, which is why it opens the EP because it's a very like accurate depiction of how I felt during that time and hearing the news and just all of these questions in my head, like, how do I leave? Like, are my friends even gonna miss me? Like, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna like this new place? How am I gonna adjust? So it was just like a lot of questions and confusing feelings. And I just took my guitar, wrote it, and it was quite simple. Like it came out quite quickly. So yeah, that was how do I leave now was made. Um, Another song that's really important. I feel like How Do I Leave Now and Back to California, the first track is San Francisco, but that's like more of an intro track. The first real track, How Do I Leave Now, and the last track, Back to California, are the most important songs of the entire EP because they're actually like the only two songs about like moving back and about California. Back to California, the title track, is more of about my dreams as an artist and how I kind of always dreamed of going to California to pursue them and thought I was gonna go to college there and um I don't know, like pursue music there in my early 20s, but I had to move back. So that was kind of me reflecting on that and like just I didn't think that people were going to relate to it at all just because it's so specific. Like how many people like are going through this exact same thing, like moving back to their home country and like also having dreams of being an artist. So that one is like one of my most personal songs and I'm very proud of it and I'm also quite shocked by like how many people who have like messaged me and like told me that they related to it because it's just so personal to me. And the other tracks, honestly, a lot of the tracks on this EP are kind of besides like How Do I Leave Now and Back to California, are kind of like really random. Like Girl on TV is just this like random, super optimistic song about wanting to be like on TV. Um, and then Should Have Been Me is about my high school crush, who honestly I couldn't really give a shit about. I was just kind of like, I don't know, like a lot of the songs on there, I'm like, these aren't important to me except for like the ones about moving away. Which is why 18 is still my favorite because I feel like that song, every single song on there has like some sort of meaning to me. Like Girl on TV, I love it. It's my favorite production. And I feel like this EP is more of like a creative kind of like experimentation, like with sound and production. Like She's Losing Control. I love the production in that. That song is like quite fun, but I mean, it's not really about anything important. Um, and then, like Should Have Been Me is about my high school crush that like I honestly kind of I like wrote the melody for it and I thought it was a cool melody and then I was like I didn't really have anything to write about so I just kind of like picked I don't know like went back to my 15-year-old self and just wrote about something that I didn't not care about but no not know what to say No Roses Tonight, that song, that one is also really special though because that's about like the feeling of like not being in a relationship while everyone around you is because I was like 18 when I wrote that. I think I just turned 19 maybe. Actually, I have no idea. I wrote that quite early on. Um, actually, yeah, I was 19. And I feel like I've been wanting to make a song that described that feeling for so long, but didn't know how to. So No Roses Tonight is very special for that reason. And yeah, Want Me Now. Want Me Now is just like a basic pop song. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I think I touched on the more important ones. Oh wait, I forgot Movie Star. That one is actually about my listeners. And I feel like not many people know that because it kind of sounds like I'm talking about like a significant other, but it's about my listeners and how they like getting like my first wave of fans for the first time really like empowered me and motivated me. So yeah, that's what most of the EP is about.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Well, obviously I couldn't relate to it in the way that you did because I did not like move from one country
Yeah, like it's
to
very
another.
specific. Mhm.
Yeah, but the feeling of homesickness, even though I didn't leave, but I just like think beforehand always, and knowing that I won't stay here till the rest of my life, which I don't want to like ever, but it's just that feeling that I need to move on with my life, and I don't know if it's the right thing, because I just like believe like the butterfly effect is so real, and just the smallest choices of your life can make such a drastic change, so that's, and actually I love the intro so much. I did not, when I clicked on the EP, I did not expect like a full on intro, and it's such a beautiful intro. Like I can
Thank you
imagine
so much.
like
Yeah.
starting the tour or something with this.
You know what I wanted? I was trying to like that was actually the last song I made, but I wanted it to feel like what it felt like literally leaving, like stepping on the plane and like leaving a place that you know you're not gonna come back to. So I kind of like wanted to capture that feeling through that first intro track. Yeah.
Yeah, so I really did like love it, and I love when EPs or albums or just like projects have like the beginning and the end, and even the last song just like feels like the end,
Mhm. Yeah.
especially because it's like title track, and it started with like leaving, and the last track is also about like leaving and wanting to like get back to the place you left. So yeah, and I did not know that movie stars well, like your fans and listeners, like that
Yeah.
did not click for me at all. So
Yeah, I
thank
feel
you
like
for
I
saying
should've
this.
yeah, I should have I feel like I should have, like, made it more obvious, but what's cool about that song is that I guess you can, like, because not everybody is a musician, like, no like, people aren't gonna relate to it if they're, like, a new listener or, you know, aren't a singer, so it's, like, kind of, like, open and, like, not specific enough, so, like, you can relate it to whatever you want to.
Yeah. And I also love like the song you said, She's Losing Control. I love that so much. Like it's my top three probably. And it also
Thank
reminds me, I don't
you.
know if you know Beth McKenzie, but she has a song, She's Finally Lost It, and it kind of like reminded me of
Oh,
this. I could like make a playlist of this song and the others. I just love songs like that. So yeah,
yeah,
I
it's a fun it
really,
was a very fun one to make.
yeah, and I also wanted to ask because sometimes it just like it's so interesting to me. Like some songs are in lowercase and some are written like normally. Like why? Like when you like put it down that way, did you like why is it that way? Like why some songs are in lowercase and some are like normally written like they, are in.
Mhm. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I don't know, it's quite random, like, for me, I'm also quite particular about how songs, like, song titles look, so I just kind of, like, see what fits, like, She's Losing Control, it just felt that one's the one in lowercase, right? See, sometimes I don't even know, but,
Yeah.
I can't even remember, but, yeah, it just felt like it made more sense to make it in lowercase, like, stuff like that, it kind of just depends on my mood, honestly, there's not really, like, a reason. But How Do I Leave Now? That one's in lowercase just because, like, it just feels more vulnerable when I put stuff in lowercase sometimes. So, like, How Do I Leave Now? Want Me Now was kind of a random decision. I don't know why it's lowercase, but yeah, the only one I could really explain is How Do I Leave Now? Because that one wrote it in a very, like, vulnerable, like, space, and yeah, thought it felt more real.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I'm always thinking about it whenever an album comes out or anything like that, and some, artists put something in lowercase and some in uppercase, and then normally, and I'm just like thinking, like, did they like do it because they wanted to, or just like it fit the aesthetic or whatever? So
Yeah, it's more of like how it's like quite random. It's just like a feeling like, oh, I feel like this should be caps or, it's quite strange.
Yeah, and I also love the aesthetic of the EP. How did the EP cover, like, how did you make it?
The cover was actually shot just like I have like a big, I don't know, for me, like the cover is super important. Like I feel like it just has to, match. Like when I make these songs, I have an idea in mind and but I really just like went to a park and had my brother take a picture for me. That was how it came about. Like sometimes it's like easier, it's better to keep stuff more simple and I don't know, this cover was very easy to shoot. Just took like a vintage camera and like went to a park and got a photo and yeah, that was it for this. It
Yeah,
just
because
also feels like a bit nostalgic.
yeah, because I love it so much. So I wanted to ask, like, how did you think about it? Because it's so simple,
Yeah.
yet it like
Mhm.
describes what's the EP about, really.
Yeah, I didn't think much about it. Sometimes it's better if you just kind of like go with the flow and just like take pictures, see what happens, and then like that's how most of my covers come out. Just like I don't really have something in mind. I just kind of play around and see what happens and yeah.
That's so real. I love how you go with the flow because I do it the same way. Like I just don't think most times, and I just like
Yeah,
whatever pops
honestly,
in my.
yeah, it's so much better that way. It's like less stressful. Some people, I mean, like I'm not saying that it's wrong to like plan stuff ahead, but for me, I'm at the point where I'm just like, you know what? I'll just do what I feel like doing at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this for you because I do this myself, and I love this for myself as well. So
Yeah, we love that.
you also have a song coming out. Well, it's actually out when this comes out. So yeah,
True.
and what's it about? I mean, you can share now since it's out now for people. I'm gonna
Okay.
link it below, but yeah.
Yeah. So, Angeline, this song is so special to me. Like, I don't know. I always say that songs are my favorite songs I've ever written, but this song just like something just felt so special. I remember, I think it's like one of the fastest it took me to write a song just because it all came out so naturally. And I remember my producer just sent me this like really pretty, beautiful piano part, and I sat at the piano and it was like, it was a big thunderstorm happening and just wrote this entire thing out in like 20 minutes and I kind of just sat there and like dissociated because I was like I've been trying to write a song like this for so long and it's the song is called Angeline. It's I wrote it about kind of like multiple people, like thinking of multiple people. That's why it's not very specific. It's kind of about mother figures and just friendships, like female friendships that kind of have like not been the best, but like a main like the two main kind of like people it's about my mom and my grandma. I feel like I have a quite like a common relationship with them where it's like there's always this kind of like unconditional love because they're your family, but like I feel like they don't get me as much as I don't know, like I don't have the best relationship with both of them and I feel like a lot of daughters also experience this with their moms and it's not always perfect and like I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of TikToks like that, like I don't know, like daughters like getting in arguments with their moms and just like not having the best relationship. And I feel like no one has talked about it. So yeah, wanted to write a song about it. But Angeline can honestly be, I've showed it to so many people and they've all kind of like thought of a different person, a different kind of relationship while listening to it. Like I showed someone and they like literally thought of their ex-girlfriend and I was like, I never thought it would be interpreted that way, but that's really cool. And then someone else thought about like their ex-best friend. So it's like I love this song because it can be related to in so many different ways and I'm so excited for it to come out and yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited as well to hear it as well. Um, yeah, I mean, I can kind of relate. Like, you know, I live with my mom and grandma, and there are arguments because there's three generations here, and sometimes
Yeah,
there are
exactly.
things we just don't agree with. And like living with them their whole life, it's hard. But I mean, I love them so much. As you said, like the love is just unconditional, and I can be super grateful for everything they do for me, but it's also
Yeah.
really complicated sometimes where
Yeah.
I don't get.
Hmm. Yeah, it's also just about like being a daughter. That's why I feel like a lot of women are probably gonna resonate with this. It's kind of about like being a daughter and just feeling like you can never be like the perfect daughter or the daughter that everybody wants you to be, you know? So it's like it's also about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's out now. You can listen to it. I'm gonna also link it down below. I'm usually like, whenever an episode comes out, I share my playlist of artists and then like all of the songs and everything. So yeah, you should check it out.
Cool.
Um, are there any artists you'd love to collaborate in the future?
Yes, there's a whole list, but I would say like I'm mainly thinking of like collaborators, like producers. Like my dream is to work with Aaron Dessner. He's like my dream producer. He's like all the music that I love, he made them. So that would be a dream. And also Phineas, like Billy's brother, Phineas. I feel like I would love to write with him and have him produce one of my songs one day. I mean, these are all really big people, but like, you know, gotta dream big, I guess, because I'm just like listing people that make the music that I love. And I mean, my favorite artists are Lana, Lana Taylor and Gracie and Phoebe. Phoebe would be like her songwriting is like out of this world. I would love to like write with her one day or even just like talk to her one day, you know. But yeah, like I'm I'm so down to collab with like literally anybody and I don't know, I hope I get to like collab and like meet some of my favorite musicians someday. It would be so sick.
You will for sure. Like you're, as I said, and I'm not like biased or anything. Some people called me biased, and I'm like, no. Like if I don't like something, like I'm truly the most honest person on the entire planet Earth. And if I don't like something, I'm just gonna say it. Like I don't really
I love
care if
that.
you don't
Yeah.
like it or not. I'm just like sharing my opinion, but truly, like I checked like your Spotify and your followers and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, numbers are not important, but just like you like deserve so much more recognition. Like
Yeah,
truly.
that's also thank you so much. I mean I'm glad that you feel that way because like another thing about being a musician is that like you're constantly comparing yourself with other people, you know? Like numbers are just numbers, but sometimes I don't know, feel kind of like, oh, maybe I don't know why I'm not achieving more and I don't know why like people around me who are seemingly like doing the same thing as me and they're achieving so much more, but to think about it, like I had way more monthly listeners when I like before I released 18, but I had no fans. And I know that sounds strange, but like streams, like I had a lot of streams at that time because like one of my songs got on like a popular playlist, but I did not have like any people in my DMs telling me like how much they related to my music, and that only happened after I like after last year when I released 18. That was when like I really started to get kind of like a small fan base and people like if I had sold posters at that time, no, like before 18, nobody would have gotten them. But now it's like I just try to be grateful for what I have, you know. It's like I don't take it for granted. Like not many people can say that like people I don't know resonate with their music and I just think it's such a cool thing. So I try to not like let it affect me too much, like popularity and achievements because I know that I'm still young and I have so much time and if you look at artists like Chapel Roan and Sabrina Carpenter, they've been making music for like a decade. So like it really takes a long time to be successful and different people move at different paces and everybody's has like a different trajectory and career path. So yeah, I try to not like think about it too much. But I'm very glad that I don't know, there's people who resonate with my songs.
Yeah, definitely. Like numbers are not everything, but even like myself, like I started this 2 years ago, but then I deleted everything because I was just like not happy with this or whatever. And I started like this year being very regular about this, and I even check like my stats. Like it's fine, like it's super like normal. Like when you release something or do something, you want to see that people like it, you know. So
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
just people would understand this, but yeah, how's your relationship with social media in general, and like online world and fans and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff?
Yeah. I mean, social media has done so much for me, so much good for me. Like my videos kind of last year started blowing up on TikTok a little bit, and that's how I got like my fans and everyone that listens to me now. But I have had like my fair share of shit, honestly. Like I remember when I first started to blow up, like everything was going so good, and then I got like a literal hate account made for me. It was crazy. It's kind of funny. It's like not that deep, but like I was just like really like I'm not even like famous at all, and like there's already people doing this shit. So that kind of like I didn't let it affect me too much, but I was just kind of like, this is one hater. Like if you're gonna continue doing this, you're gonna have to deal with more. So I kind of brushed it off, but um there's like so many negative sides also, like the constant comparison with other people and just like I don't know, like I feel like it's so cool seeing other people be super successful and achieving their dreams, but I feel like it's such a human thing to like kind of be jealous, and I mean I'm just being real. Like everyone, jealousy is a human feeling, and I feel like social media kind of like um pushes that feeling a lot, and I don't like it. Like sometimes I'm just like, why can't I just be like happy for someone and instead of like wanting to be them or just wishing I had stuff. Um, so I feel like that's like the negative sides of social media, but now I just like try to really use it to connect with my fans. Like I have a group chat, I talk to them every day and like just I don't know, just share music because like after all, I'm just like a girl who loves to write songs and yeah, and I just use it use it for good now. But yeah, like I don't try to like I don't know, look at it negatively anymore, but obviously it happens.
Yeah, thank you for being so honest and sharing like your, jealousy is super normal, and
Yeah.
a lot of people out there act like, no, I'm like super happy for the person. I'm like, be honest, like you would
Yeah,
want them.
exactly. Yeah. And like I always just kind of like not hate myself for it, but sometimes I'm just like I really wish that I could feel like genuine have like be like genuinely proud of someone if like I don't know if they achieve something that I haven't achieved yet, but it's just like the constant like comparison and all of that that makes it like annoying, but whatever.
Yeah, it's super normal. Like I completely get it, and I just wish we didn't have to compare ourselves. But even people do it. Like every single day, I see TikTok comparing one female artist to another, and I'm like, are
Oh
you not
yeah,
aware of
that
this?
pisses me off so much. Do you mind if I like just kind of like talk a little bit about something? Because
Yeah, you can. Of
I
course.
okay. I hate it when like I've been seeing like so many like Twitter like tweets and just like TikToks of people mocking small artists just because like they I don't know like people just have I don't know why people have such a problem with small artists promoting themselves and like because you know how a lot of smaller artists like me we kind of use these popular artists like if you like these artists listen to me, it's just like a marketing tactic, but a lot of people like give us kind of like shit for it and they're like I saw a TikTok the other day, this girl, she was like I hate it when like I don't know, small artists like lists like a bunch of artists that like they try to sound like just be yourself. And that just makes me so mad because it's like it's literally just it's like hard enough for us to like be heard because we don't have a label or anything. And it's just like a marketing strategy. And after all, like for me, like I write my songs about my own personal stories. Like just because an artist, like for example, like Taylor Swift, like she doesn't own a certain genre or like Gracie Abrams, like they don't own that style of music. It's like genres are universal and as long as an artist is like authentically writing about their life and just like being themselves, I feel like no one should talk shit about them. I don't know. It just like pisses me off when I see stuff like that. But yeah.
No, I agree so much as a fan because I think yesterday, I'm not sure, or 2 days ago, it was either yesterday or 2 days ago, I saw a tweet where this one girl was like, um, it's so obvious when people stand small artists just for interactions. And I was
Okay,
like,
I saw that. I know what you mean. I saw something like that too. So
yeah.
stupid.
And I was like, okay, so I love big artists, and I love all the mainstream music and all that kind of stuff, but I decided to do this podcast mainly for smaller artists, or just like artists who didn't break through yet. I mean, I've
Yeah.
had a person here, this singer called Naraya, who has 250K Instagram followers,
Um,
and I've had Eileen Allister, who just like is, I don't know, she's gaining popularity like insane, like it happens.
yeah, yeah.
But it's more about just like appreciating their music, and just like helping them out if I can, because first of all, I'm a fan, and I just love music so much. It's such an important part of my life. I'm playing piano since I was 4, so also I am part of like this small kind of group where I do music. I mean, not do music, but just like play it. And I just feel it's super important to support them. And if you're gonna mock them, then we're just gonna listen to the same artist still the rest of your life. And if they want to do
Exactly.
it,
Yeah.
if they want to do it, okay, like do it. I don't care. But I want to discover new people as well. And I love that my playlist
Right.
is various and awesome. So yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree. And it's like I feel like people always think that like you have to be doing like something like totally unique and revolutionary in order to be like popular, but honestly, if you look at all like the artists who are thriving right now, they're all just like mostly like just young females, women who just love making music, and that's what it is. Like I'm not trying, like obviously like being successful is like there's so many goals I want to accomplish, but after all, like I just love music like you, and I love making music and writing about my life and writing songs for people to relate to, and that's my main goal, and it makes me happy just like doing this, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I'm just like trying to protect them and defend them. And I've got I've got private quotes, and I've got hate tweets where people were like, it's just so obvious that you want interactions or fame, or
Really? People
oh,
say that about like
yeah.
just because you have a podcasting channel, people say that?
No, yeah, also podcast, but also I have a small Twitter account. Like I have like around 200 followers, like not much, but whenever like I
Uh-huh.
don't someone like follows me and interacts with me, and they like are not as big as they wish to be, or I don't know, people just like
Hmm.
are mocking this, and are like, so you just stand them because
Yeah,
and I'm like, no, like it's not about that, but it just makes me happy that someone acknowledges me, and and sees that I'm listening
right.
to their music. Like it's super, I don't know,
Right.
normal
Like
for me.
exactly. Like even as a listener of music, like as long as I really like the artist's music or really just resonate with it, I don't care if they're big or small. Like if they acknowledge me, it's like I've been in that position. Like I feel how much of an effect it has on me just because it's like, you know, like you're blasting this music, this person's music into your ears like 24/7, and they like maybe like reply to you or like acknowledge you or like said hi to you. Like it just means a lot. And I absolutely hate it when people say stuff like that, like, oh, like they're only like liking small artists because they want interaction. Like maybe it's because they like the music, you know, like I don't know. It's just like people are just like so bored and have nothing better to say sometimes.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like if you're jealous, or if you're, I don't know, just like want to hate for no reason, then do yourself a favor and do it. But I just like, I don't really care at the end of the day. I'm like, I just read it or whatever, and I'm like, okay, just like, yep, I don't care. Honestly, I
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, Twitter can be exhausting sometimes.
yeah. What has been the most rewarding moment in your music career so far?
definitely just getting my like getting fans for the first time and having all these young girls like tell me how much like how they see themselves in my music and how much it's helped them. And I remember like when this all first started happening, there was kind of like a trend where people were posting their favorite artists and they were like I was tagged in so many TikToks of people just like having these lists of like incredible like successful artists like Taylor Swift, Olivia Rodrigo, Lana Del Rey, all these kind of like big female artists, and I'm just like randomly in there like with the, like on the list with these people, and that just made me feel like, you know, that I was doing something right and that I kind of like finally found my crowd that I've been trying to like find for so long, like my audience, and that yeah, that definitely was kind of the most rewarding thing.
Yeah, I need to make some TikTok as well. I mean, TikTok is such a scary place for me most times where I feel more stressed posting there than on Instagram, even though I have
Yeah,
a lot
definitely.
more followers on Instagram than on TikTok because it's just, I don't know, people on TikTok sometimes are weird, but I love these little trends and I love like doing them. So
Yeah. Yeah, TikTok is cute sometimes.
it is. It is. I mean, I love reposts. I stalk people's reposts. I like love all that kind of
Yeah.
but it
Yeah,
can be
same,
scary.
same. Yeah, I agree.
If you weren't a musician, what do you think you'd be doing?
I feel like I would be, I mean, I've always wanted to like go into fashion. I love fashion, so probably that. And I'm still open to that, like maybe in the future, because like I don't know, I've always wanted like a clothing line. So like and like making merch is kind of also like that too. Like you get to kind of like design your own stuff. So I kind of like how I don't know, like being an artist, I get to do all this stuff, but probably fashion maybe or maybe even film. Like I love movies as much as music, honestly. And in another life, I always like say like I would be a filmmaker or like a director in another life, not this one. But yeah, um, those are like just some things that I love. But honestly, sometimes like someday I would love to like direct my own music videos. When I get like a label or something and can finally make videos, I would love to direct some of them. And yeah,
No, I genuinely feel like we are the same person because literally my dream, like always, was to be a director because I love movies so much. But obviously, the school is very expensive, first of all, and second
it
of all,
is.
like
Yeah.
just the best people get there. It's like it's seven people only get there, and I just don't, first of all, I don't believe in myself that much, and second of all, like the applications need to be
Try,
by of December.
don't try not to like get super like beat yourself down because of that. Because like I experienced the same exact thing. I really wanted to go to school like in LA for music and business, and it was just so competitive and expensive, the main thing. And I like see all of my friends just like in film school and getting to do all these cool stuff. And just because someone has something, it honestly doesn't make you any less capable of achieving success. And I feel like, I mean, I said this earlier, but everybody like has a different path, you know, like everyone's story is going to be different. So it's like as long as you just have that passion and like keep going. I mean, at least that's what I try to tell myself, like everything will work out and like after all, everything happens for a reason. So like try not to like get like be super down about that, you know,
Thank
because
you
I've
for
been there.
saying this. Thank you. I
Yeah,
mean,
of
I
course.
I'm not applying anymore. Maybe next year. Maybe I'll go to this college and then during this I will try to do something. I don't know. Honestly, I don't really know. I
Yeah,
didn't
you're
figure that.
really young. Like you'll figure it out. You're only 18. It's okay. Even I'm like 20 and that's like 2 years older than you and I still feel like young and I have time to figure stuff out. So just like there's like no rush, you know. You can achieve success like at any age really. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not trying to like stress myself out or anything like, but I'm trying to be like realistic as well and do things
Yeah,
that I know I
exactly.
can achieve right now, and it's okay if I cannot achieve some things right now, like maybe I will later. And if not, like we have whole life figuring stuff out, like we don't need to like have it all figured out truly, so it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, 100%.
So, obviously, new song is out now if you're listening to this, but are there any, like, are you thinking about upcoming project or something like that, or are you just like vibing with whatever you have right now?
Yeah, I'm working on a lot of new music. I have a new project that I'm working on. I don't know the length of it it's or if it's gonna be an album or probably EP, but I'm already working on it. I'm like over halfway through it, and I've just been so inspired recently. Like the music that I'm making now, it's like some of the best that I've ever made, and I'm just like I've never been like this motivated to make music, so I'm very like excited. And Angelina's I haven't told anyone this, but Angelina's I think my first single off the next project that will probably come out early next year. So yeah,
Yeah,
exciting.
stay tuned because I will be on as hell. Like, I'm super excited to add another project into my playlist. Like, I love it so much. So, yeah, super excited. And thank you for like,
Yay.
I love how you're like always working. I mean, obviously, just like take a break and everything, but I just love when people have passion for things they do. So, I really do
Yeah,
appreciate.
and yeah, it's not like that all the time. Like there's periods of times, like months even, where I just wouldn't write because I'm just so unmotivated. But when it happens and when I'm creatively stimulated, when I have life experiences to write about, I just take advantage of it and write like crazy. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like it happens obviously, but yeah, just keep going, and there are many people rooting for you, and hopefully people who are listening to this and came across this will be, like very inspired as well, because I just want to say like you're so well spoken and intelligent even though you're so young, and I just really that appreciate that about you, and then you're so honest and open, and I think you're going to make it very far away because there are not many people here, especially in the music industry, who are honest and they just want to be liked, but you can be liked by everyone, and it's so important to just like stand by what you really think, and that's one of the biggest like achievements that you can like receive. So thank you for being this way.
Thank you so much for saying that. Like it makes me very happy hearing that. And I'm so glad you feel that way because sometimes I'm very like self-conscious and like I don't, it's like weird that I'm perceived like being an artist and I don't know how people like feel about me sometimes. So it's like I just try to be like as real and honest as possible. And it's like, like you get you get what you see kind of thing. Like if people don't like what I'm saying, then whatever. But yeah, thank you so much for saying that. It means a lot.
Yeah, of course. And so the last, it's not like a question, it's more like a message, but the last thing I always ask by the end of this podcast is, just like share advice you would give to others starting their music journey, like what inspired you, just like a little message for whoever's hearing this maybe and wants to start a music career.
Okay. I would say like this is not often said and it's usually the opposite way, but take as much in like it's not bad to take inspiration and to kind of like use like listen to the music you like and take inspiration from that to find your sound. You don't always have to like because that's a big thing that I struggled with was trying to come up with my own sound when in reality like every single artist has influences and you are what you listen to. So just listen to as much music as possible, like really kind of like just kind of see how other artists are writing music and making music and take some of that like knowledge into your own art and then go from there and just keep writing and there are gonna be bad songs. There are gonna be songs that aren't good, but that's all like part of the process. So yeah, just like keep writing and just put out what feels good and you don't have to kind of like always listen to other people's opinions and it's not always about numbers and streams. It's just like kind of like go at your own pace and do what makes you happy. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I'm sure whoever hears this is like super happy to hear this. And yeah, it's such a great advice. So if I were a musician, I would definitely just like take this to my heart. So if someone out here listening, just do what the queen said. And I'm so sad to like say this, but I don't have any questions left. But this was so like fun and so honest. It's probably one of my favorite like episodes, and I don't know how I'm gonna
Oh,
move on from this.
oh, really? Oh my God, we should do a part two.
We
We
should
should
like
do we should do a
whenever
part
you're.
two, like when a new project comes out or whenever. But I
Yes,
really enjoyed talking to you. You're
yes.
such like,
Thank you.
sorry, were you gonna say something? I cut you off again.
No, no, no. You could. I wanted you to like continue whatever.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. No, I was saying like it was such a pleasure talking to you. Like I don't feel this comfortable like sharing this much with a lot of people. So yeah, I just want to let you know that like you're doing so great and like you should definitely like continue pursuing this because it's very important like being like kind of like a good interviewer, I guess, like making artists feel comfortable enough to share like all this stuff and yeah, so keep going.
Thank you for saying this. It means so much to me because I
Of
was like not
course.
sure at all. And yeah, I was about to say like whenever your next project comes out, or if you are like willing to share before, so it comes out at the same day as the EP, we could definitely like talk about it. I'm very
Yeah.
open to talk about it. I'm super
Okay,
excited,
cool. Cool.
and
Yeah,
thank
I'll
you
let you
again.
know.
Yeah, thank you.
No,
I'm
thank
super grateful
you.
that you
Thank you for
felt
having me.
people and all and everything. And I was actually like so looking forward to this because ever since I like listened to your music, I just knew like I could talk so much about your art. So I'm super grateful that it turned out this way. And actually, I think it's the longest episode I've ever had. So
Yeah, it's been almost 2 hours. It's crazy. You can feel free to like cut some bits out if like because I tend to like just talk and talk, you know, so like just like feel free to cut whatever you want out. I'm cool
no,
with that.
no, definitely not gonna cut anything out because it's just so real and authentic, and I'm super grateful that it turned out the way it did. And yeah, and thank you again. Like this has been such a blessing for me as well, and I could learn so much and educate myself and as well. And yeah, it's such a great time always.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so
I'm
guys, listen.
excited to hear it.
Me too. I'm so excited. Listen to
Wait, when is it coming out?
songs. What?
Sorry. Oh wait, okay, never mind. You can go
When is
ahead.
it coming out? When is it coming out?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
Sometime in December. I'm gonna check my calendar because I'm not sure, but it will come out 13th of December. So actually, this is so Taylor Swift coded.
Oh
Actually,
my
like
God, wait, her birthday.
it's
Wow.
it's supposed to.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, the stars aligned literally. So yeah,
Literally.
13.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay, cool.
song, listen to the EP, all of the EPs, listen to the whole discography. I'm gonna share it on my Insta story as well because I have playlists always of the artist. And yeah, and hopefully talk soon. Like I'm definitely counting on it.
Yeah, like honestly, like if I'm like pretty I talk I love it when people DM me. So like if you have any like questions or things you want to talk about, just like I'm like open in my DMs. Like I will answer. So
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
gonna your Instagram down there and all of the socials. So yeah, just like check it out. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this and hopefully talk soon. And next episode, as always, Friday. So stay tuned. And also for Liz music, like she's amazing. So listen to her as well. And yeah, thank you again and have an amazing rest of the day. Bye.